Yo, 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 yo. What is up, culture world, culture people, culture community, culture supporters? What is up, man? We are here at Culture Sundays doing the Culture Podcast, and we got an incredible guest. I was about to say special, but special is abused nowadays, you know what I'm saying? So we have this thing here. I'm sure, I don't know, it's like your second or third time being here, but sometimes, somehow, those episodes end up not coming out. So this time, dog, we're going to do it right. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make sure. So, for the third time, but for the first time today, who are you as we introduce you to the Culture Podcast?
What up, everybody? I am Met a morphosis, and artist, writer, scientist, and educator. I'm a very multidimensional person, but in terms of the art vibes, I'm a rapper and a poet. I sketch sometimes too, but got a debut album called Wormhole of Consciousness. My music is abstract conscious, philosophical, sometimes historical and scientific, on some trappy, jazzy, hip hop type of beats with some neo soul, a little bit of classical influences too. And that's just sort of the way my sound just kind of runs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So I like the mention of being multidimensional because
Yes.
that's a great allusion to our ice breaking question that I have for you today.
Yes.
If some people say let's get loose, I'm saying let's get lucid, right? If you, or rather, what is the craziest dream that you've ever had?
Oh, that's a wild one. I can really tell you one of those. I've got a few,
Uh,
but two stand
I,
out
I,
that
I,
were
I knew you'd
earlier
have
in this
something
year.
for us.
Um, with the first one, this is kind of wild. So, anyways, basically driving on the highway, and the road is like a sine graph, up and down, hill situations, right? Now, from peak to peak is about roughly 30 seconds. So you go 30 seconds to the next peak, then you go down again. When I got to like the seventh peak, the car kind of like ramped up, and I was thinking, oh snap, you're gonna like nose dive into the bottom, right? That was the pattern beforehand. So I'm thinking, what do you do? Seat belts, open the window, windshield, whatever it is, and I kind of like just surrendered in the moment. So I closed my eyes and accepted my fate. When I opened my eyes, I found that I was floating very, very slowly at a rate of like 1 centimeter per second, coming up slowly.
Damn.
So I was thinking to myself, is this my soul leaving my body? Like, what is this? So as I get higher and higher, I begin to see the car. It's like frozen in time. Nothing has happened. It just like started ramping and then paused, basically. And I'm just rising. And I'm thinking, I look inside the car, there's nobody. Meaning my body and my soul was just levitating slowly into the sky. Eventually I could see like the rough neighborhood, then the city, then I could see like 60% of South Africa. And I was like, holy shit, you're damn high up. So I'm like, wait,
Yo,
where's
that's
the car?
crazy.
So I squinted my eyes and tried to zoom in, and somehow my eyes zoomed in, and the car was still frozen in time. And I'm like, oh snap, you gotta be dreaming. Change something. Then I woke up.
Yo, that's
That's
crazy.
one of the wildest dreams I've had.
You know what? I'm not gonna ask for the interpretation. I'm not gonna ask what you think it means because that sounds crazy.
Now it was wild. I basically died and astral projected in a dream, then became lucid to it,
You see what I meant? Let's get lucid.
which is wild. Yeah.
Okay, all right, yo, that's a fantastic icebreaker, man. I love it. Now we can talk about anything.
Oh, shut up, shut up.
All right.
Wild on that, yeah.
So, where does the story of metamorphosis begin? What does that name mean, and when did you design that shoe and put your foot into it? You understand what I mean?
Shout out, shout out, shout out. I basically had the same name since my trick.
Okay.
And what happened there was
So you
I went
started
through
making your art in Matric.
pretty much started like writing poetry specifically, I guess, in my trick.
Okay.
Started rapping then as well. I was usually actually the beatboxer in ciphers, so but eventually get the confidence to jump on the mic. So the mad thing that happened with me, and I guess more on my end, was the following. So I went through this whole period of awakening during prelims, and I wrote what felt like the longest piece of my entire life.
Uh,
And in it, I was writing and asking for my own forgiveness. I think there's one line that strikes me quite hard in it. It was shackled by conformity, set free by self acceptance.
damn.
And in that
That
piece, I kind of
that's
realized that it was heavy that moment, you know what I mean?
that's what you were writing in matric.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
shackled by conformity, broken free by self acceptance. 32 pages, that piece is one of my longest, in like a journal situation.
That's crazy.
So, anyways, after that piece, I've kind of never been the same. And that became the first time I experienced a metamorphosis.
What made you start?
And I'm getting into that now, yeah.
Okay.
That was in the first time I kind of experienced a metamorphosis. In terms of what made me start, it's a classic heartbreak situation, a cliche. But I'm glad that happened because it got me to explore so many more other elements. Because
yeah.
as that period came, I wrote that piece and I had that first awakening. I kept having the experiences that almost like awakened my consciousness to the limited definition of reality I used to have. In other words, just so much more to it. So because I kept having these experiences, my name that started initially as fully metamorphosis then became met underscore a underscore morphosis because I met a morphosis continuously. And when you break down the meaning of that, met is of course to meet something. A is just an article, meet what. Now, the word morph means a drastic change in phase, shape, form, or character. Osis implies a process. So when I say met a morphosis, I am continuously meeting the flux of change. And I've evolved.
Taking place within you.
Exactly. And I've evolved
And what's happening
internally,
around.
mentally, spiritually, physically, in many other ways as well over the years.
Since that poem.
Since that experience. Because I've kept having those experiences over and over again. So what I thought was one metamorphosis was just me meeting many more met a morphosis.
Met a more morphosis.
Exactly. Precise. And that's how the name got split up and then it stays one word.
Okay.
I kept meeting these morphosis moments. You know
Not to mention that when you put it together, what it actually means.
yeah, when you put it together, it's a process when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. But it gets even deeper than that.
So what about that initial moment? Let's talk about that initial moment that brought you up to that 32-page journal entry poem. Like,
I think I was carrying
okay.
a lot of different things. Typical pressures of any student in high school. Um, fear of the future. A lot, actually. I think of, I was once asked the question in grade 11, what's your deepest fear? My answer then was the future. And I think of there was a portal where you could speak to past self and they'd see me now. They'd almost be in disbelief that this greatness could exist. But
Do you know why you feared the future?
back then,
Yeah.
it was more a lot of uncertainty.
Because that's heavy, dog. That's actually,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone articulate their fear to be the future. You know.
Yeah, and at the time it
crazy.
definitely was. I didn't know who it was or who I'd become or who I'd be. And if you're kind of forced to conform in a high school setup, as we all are, and you get out of high school, and I was very clear that I'm not going to conform in my art. Where even if people didn't really get it in the beginning, they do get it now, which is great. Um, I wasn't going to change who I am to try to fit into what society wanted of me.
Okay, so you were the fear was the future. Are they going to accept me?
No, not necessarily that. The fear was what I would be in the future.
Okay.
Because we all have those questions of like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you
Okay.
just don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it was the fear of not knowing what I wanted that to be.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm resonating a lot with that because
Shut up.
I
I think
understand.
a lot
I
of people have that
understand
fear as well.
I understand
Yeah.
it. And you know, like one thing that I think, like, you know, I'm kind of disappointed that maybe you didn't mention in your introduction,
Yeah.
but this is the culture, and we've got your file. So I'm gonna mention some that maybe a lot of people might not know that you are actually an educator.
Yes,
Right.
that's true. Yes, yeah.
And like a teacher type of thing to people in school. And I feel like, especially now that you've expressed that when you were in high school, you suffered from a fear of the future. I feel like somebody who understands that, right, can champion that type of fear for the next generation or future generations and help, you know, to manage and mitigate anything that could go wrong with these youngsters through that fear of the future. You understand what I mean? It's like like I'm resonating with what you're saying because I was in matric. I'm like, fuck, what the hell is gonna happen? You know, I would have loved, and I'm not saying that there weren't any teachers because I might be lying, but I remember dealing with mad anxiety in high school over the future. And it would have been great if I could maybe have a teacher like you who would be like, look, man, don't stress. This shit's gonna figure itself out. You don't need to have fear. You know what I'm saying? I feel like your students are lucky, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Not true. They
Or,
definitely are.
yeah, your pupils. Apparently, they're pupils in high school, students in varsity.
I've had both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've even tutored fourth years quantum mechanics at WITS when I was undergrad.
Shit.
In the year that I broke a record as not only the first person to successfully complete first and second year simultaneously, but also be a second year getting an A for fourth year physics.
Damn.
Yeah, and
It fits.
yes, and
That's
funny enough,
crazy.
before that I failed first year and struggled a lot academically, but once I figured out how my own mind works and the best way for me to learn things, etc., it then brought other successes because you then understand how to not just maximize your own potential, but understand how far out you can really go in the pursuit of any dream.
But I feel like we're jumping a few guns.
Okay,
All
yeah.
right. We're still chopping it up, dog. Don't
No,
don't
most definitely.
don't rush.
No, I'm very relaxed. I'm very
Yeah.
relaxed.
It's
Yeah.
a Sunday.
Most definitely.
And schools are out. You know what I'm saying?
Not yet, but soon. Yeah.
Really, they're not.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
They're just wrapping up exams, but most students are done by now.
Okay. All right. What I wanted to kind of narrow down on is like, okay, we understand that your entrance into the realm of the arts was through poetry, right?
Yeah.
Your first attempt. But like, if you can say that there was someone, like whether it's a musician or a song, or a celebrity, a family member, neighbor, like who inspired you if to start? To like to think that you could do it too.
Oh, that's a very interesting question. And quite a heavy one too, because I'm inspired by many, many things in many, many places, you know?
Uh-huh.
Um, Listening to hip hop since I was extremely young, you know what I mean? Since I was like 6 years old. And
Okay,
one of my
okay.
fondest early memories was in Deep Kloof Zone 2 Soweto at my grandma's crib. And the Chaz playing a track. And I'm hearing someone rapping. And I'm like, but I know this voice.
Mm.
And my brother's like, yo, that's Broski. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, nah, Big Bro's rapping there. And I was like, snap. So Gunduani, the rat, Pro Kid also gave him dabs as well. One of the first rappers on YFM was actually my older brother.
Really?
Yeah, one of my older brothers, yes, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
His name was
so
Gundwani, the rat.
the rat, yeah, the rat,
In
yeah.
full. That was his
Yeah,
full name.
yeah, in full, yeah. But on the
What-
underground, they know, they know.
What
they know.
year was that? That's crazy.
It's like the
dog.
90s, dog, 90s, yeah, 90s,
That's
yeah.
crazy. How old were you?
I was just as like 5.
Okay, so
know what I
you
mean?
you saw it
It's very,
first.
very
at,
young.
you saw it first at home.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but even among that, the influence of music that was played, Tribe Called Quest, your Parks, your Biggies, your Nas,
Yeah.
your Jay-Z, the list is endless, you know what I mean? And Busta Rhymes, of course, definitely, you know what I mean? Dr. Dre, Snoop. So hearing those artists so young and having an appreciation for the music and the many layers there are to it as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's one thing to listen to music traditionally and maybe hear hip hop for the first time. That's one layer of understanding. Then you're aware of like figurative language and those structures, and you listen to hip hop, you get another layer of understanding.
yeah.
Then you're an artist that creates music. It's like layer 3 of understanding.
Yeah.
Layer 4, you produce as well. Layer 5, a master producer and writer of the music. And then layer 6, a creator. And then layer 7, a master creator.
Yeah.
Now, everyone's hearing the same thing, but at different levels of consciousness based on their perception of reality in the moment.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say is, influenced by many, but the most important thing was that an inner spirit kind of provoked me to get out there. Because initially I started pretty much just writing for myself
Yeah.
in my journal. Probably wasn't going to share this stuff. And the spirit in me said, you got to share this. And
Yeah.
the first time I shared it, the crowd had like a massive reaction. I was like, what? People like this?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I just kept doing it. Then
What-
eventually it was like, put the book down, spit without a book in your hands. And now we're here, which is kind of wild when I think about it.
Okay. Damn. Yeah, that's crazy, dog. So like
Come far, yeah.
so that first interaction with the crowd and that positive reception,
Yeah.
that like put the battery in your back. But like, yo,
Yeah, they're
man,
like-
maybe
I can't keep
But
doing
but at
this.
that point, were you thinking that this could be a career, or you're still
At the
like,
time, I was probably thinking hobby,
yeah?
but now I fully see it as a career.
How long did it take you to make that transition, and what
I
what
think,
and what
sorry.
yeah, what triggered it? How long did it take, and what triggered the transition?
Oh, nice. How long did it take? I mean, I think I spent a couple of years freestyling for friends, freestyling poetry, rapping, beatboxing, etc. And eventually, you get the confidence to get up on stage,
Okay.
and you then do that.
Because the homies were like, "Yo, Doug, why don't you?" They
Yeah,
were still not booing you.
yeah, exactly.
uh,
Pretty much that.
uh,
And what starts with you reading from a book, then expands, and you take it further, and before you know it, you get invited on a show that like really puts you on. And I can tell you a nice story from my documentary actually,
uh.
Wormhole of Consciousness, same title as the album, where the following happened, and this is pretty wild. Listen to this shit. So I'm at a Penn Seed poetry event like, back in like 2008.
Yo, pen seed
Throw it
poetry,
back, what?
dog. Only,
Throw it
on,
back, throw
only
it
real
back.
niggas will know. Only real
Yes, yes.
Victoria
You
Street
don't
cats will
stop. Yes,
understand.
yes.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
don't stop. Most
Okay,
definitely.
okay.
So
Shit.
back then, no MC is like, yo, can anybody write something about Penn Seed poets to the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
So people perform. I'm busy writing in my journal. I'm done. I stop. Then he's like, did anybody come up with anything? There's silence. Then Mabi is like, points at me like, yo, this homie just wrote something now. So I go up to the front. I read what I wrote. Crowd goes freaking wild. And that was the first time I got my name on a poster. I think I still have that poster. I kept
Yo,
it
that's
safe.
crazy. And that was after practicing for how long? I mean, like, since that first poem until having your name on a poster.
Not much time. We're talking about a couple of months.
Okay.
I think I was just naturally good at like language and writing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah.
for a long time, I probably would have wanted to be like a writer as a career. But I didn't expect myself to write poetry with that type of art frame, you know?
Okay.
You know what I mean? That wouldn't be what I've expected, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yo, man, that is like very, very intriguing. All right. So, your name, your name gets onto the poster. You realize that now maybe I can do this. You're probably still studying at the same time,
First year, yeah.
first year, right? And we know folks, dog. They know us too, right? So they're looking at you and they're like, yo, but that young man is putting a lot of effort into that thing. Why are you doing that and not doing this thing that we're actually putting money towards for you? Or did you ever have that conflict? Let me not assume.
You mean to be an artist full time from the beginning?
Yeah, like the
Oh,
the moment your folks started to realize that this is something that you're taking a little bit more seriously, and
I
and,
think,
and maybe there's a shift in your priorities.
oh, true. I think the children's priorities I probably saw like a while ago because I'd regularly attend shows. And for me, it was more like building, I think, hierarchies of competency.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah,
a
yeah.
man with multiple skills who's skilled in at a world class level at four jobs, being an artist, writer, scientist, and educator, which are all killed at a very high level,
Yeah, yeah,
including the quantum computing and programming diploma that I got in July
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of this year.
Now we're gonna get there. We're
So,
gonna get
yeah, I
there.
know
We're
we'll
gonna
get there
get
for sure, but what I'm trying to say is I live a
Which is
life where I
crazy.
demand excellence of myself,
Okay.
where I expect the best version of myself in execution.
Uh.
And I feel like if you aim high and you land a little bit lower than where you aimed high, it's better than just aiming low.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Michelangelo said it best with the following quote. So if I remember it right, he said, "The greatest tragedy in life is not to aim too high and miss the target. It is to aim low and hit the mark."
Eish.
Michelangelo with that, you know what I mean?
Eish.
So we can't just be aiming low with a complacent, minimum effort version of ourselves and be cool with that because
Yeah.
someone else once said, the greatest curse would be getting up to heaven and meeting the greatest version of you. The one that took a chance on everything that they wanted to do.
Eish.
The one that fulfilled their purpose and destiny. The one that lived a life of great character and empathy,
Yeah.
and compassion and grace
Yeah.
and mercy and
Yeah.
forgiveness,
Yeah.
trust, loyalty, friendship, and family.
Yeah.
And when you see the version of you, and you see who you are, and you remember all the choices where you went against what could have brought that higher self, it can feel like a curse sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had a near-death experience this year, and it kind of reminded me that, like, had I died then, I would have still been in a space of acceptance.
Yeah.
Mostly because I fully accept that I have lived my life to the max.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
done obviously the more things I want to do, but
Yeah.
I've done a lot of the things I dreamt of doing,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and there's so much more I see.
Let,
Where
let,
now I tell myself, dream bigger. You're dreaming too small. Dream even bigger.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, and that's something.
Let's talk a bit about that, man, because firstly, round of applause, man. I feel like that's you actually said something really moving to me. You
Yeah,
know that as long as you're demanding excellence of yourself,
exactly.
you must just know that should your demise come, it came timely, and there's
You've lived life to the max.
exactly like the only regret is not doing what you know you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I
And
like that.
with that comes the peace and contentment in the death, where I've had like odd experiences with lucid dreams and meditative states where I've truly like seen things. And I found that the gift of my calling is greater than I can even imagine as a destiny. Because for one, to be skilled at as many things as I am at such a high level, and be gifted and have this off the charts IQ, is definitely just a blessing from divinity and ancestry. But
Yeah,
at the same time, I think you can see it from the angle of it being a responsibility.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah,
reason why I mentioned the responsibility angle is you could easily have a gift, sit in it and say, yeah, nah, I'm the GOAT, I'm the best. Sit on it and that's it.
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah,
you can say, I might be better than the average amateur when starting. What if I sharpen my skills? Because this might be a natural talent.
yeah, yeah,
And when
yeah,
you sharpen
yeah,
your skills and demand mastery of yourself, and you begin to find and execute that mastery,
yeah,
you then find that, like I myself, am living a life that I mostly only dreamt of. And I live fully grateful of that and in that.
yeah,
Of the truth of manifestation of a destiny that I saw 5 years ago being
yeah,
a current reality.
yeah, yeah,
So, if anything, my story should be testament that anything is possible. Believe, but put in the work,
yeah.
because it's faith with works that can manifest any
For
dream.
sure, for sure, for
And
sure,
take
for
that
sure.
big dream, condense it down into a series of steps,
Yeah,
and focus on just getting each step correct one by one.
yeah,
And eventually, you'll get to where you want to get to.
yeah,
It's not impossible.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just gotta sometimes not quit too easily
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
try to
yeah,
understand and know yourself more.
yeah, 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 yeah,
What's
yeah,
for you will always be for you.
yeah,
What's
yeah,
not will often
yeah,
fall away.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard to accept that the things we love that we can't do, but it's fine.
So
It
in
just means find the truth in the other thing that's good with you.
okay, I've thought of two questions to ask you, right? Um, was your first was your first what was the first time you realized one of your dreams in this artist sphere that you realizing, oh shit, this is something I've dreamt about? When what what experience
Um,
would
yeah,
you
that's
say?
amazing. That's such a great question.
Mm,
I think it's two moments.
mm,
The first one was when I won my first. This is even so crazy because the way that I won, I was also mad that day. It was on some kale kale my crazy tip.
yeah,
So basically, I freestyled at the 2013 Open Mic Awards and was so good on that day that I won the award for best writing style with freestyles,
that's
which
crazy.
of course is ironic in
Where
itself.
where did you say that was? Open mic awards
Open Mic Awards at Rhapsody's Cafe in 2013.
in Sunnyside.
No, it's in Hatfield, in
Oh,
partnership with the University of Pretoria.
oh, okay.
KB Kidabite was a judge. A university professor
Ah,
was
okay,
also
okay,
there,
okay.
and I think I still have the certificate as well. But yeah,
That's
that was
crazy.
the first award I ever won in the art game.
That's crazy.
And the bigger moment that made
So
me happiest,
so you
yeah.
one of your dreams is to achieve like records and hits in the music space.
No, definitely, but I think it's more than that
Yeah.
for me to keep making classics because I'm all about making classics. 'Cause at the end of the day, what are you making music for if you're not making a classic?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
for me, the value
But a
always,
classic and a hit are not the same thing.
I'm aware of that, but
Or
what I'm trying to say
what do you
is,
think?
I'm aware of that, but they can be both at the same time as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But what I more mean by that is the following. You have to speak to the true version of yourself that is creating your art. Because if you try too much to cower to sound like other people, you lose some authenticity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you almost get lost in the saturation of the market of a
Yeah.
flood of artists.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you're true to yourself,
Everyone who's doing the same
exactly.
thing.
But when you're true to yourself, your people always find you eventually.
For sure.
And when they do, slowly cultivate that fan base. I
Yeah.
didn't think in the space of like 2 years of 10x my following to have 20,000 followers.
Yeah, yeah,
And looking
yeah.
at next year, maybe double that, or maybe 50,000, 100,000.
Yeah.
But the thing is, again, that's the dreaming bigger example.
Yeah.
Maybe the first target was get to 5K.
Yeah.
5K turns to 10, 10 turns to 20. And now you're thinking, what's wrong with 50 or 100K? Because these things are possible when you dream bigger. But but more importantly, have better methods and execution.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are very curious, like, how do you grow this so big? There's no magic formula that I use.
Yeah.
I just follow one key rule.
Yeah.
Always drop hardship,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I have killer performances, but maybe somebody else was talking too much in the background.
Yeah.
So I didn't post that video because I
Yeah.
know if someone sees my page for the first time,
Yeah.
they come to the first video like, oh, there's audio issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
all of my stuff or
Yeah.
shit is always at like a high level.
So curate it
Exactly.
to a high standard.
And maintain your standard.
Yeah.
Never drop it. And because of that, even if I might not post in a while, and people are like, oh, drop something new, it's always something hard.
Yeah.
And this way it keeps the repeat customers.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's better to have a consistent high quality than to drop every day than sometimes you're dropping like pop posts, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is you never know when you might get your first user on your page.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you
yeah.
don't want the latest post they see to be your worst one.
Yeah. 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 That's
Does
true.
that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
A ton of sense. Okay, so like in terms of your dreams, right? It's
Yeah.
great that we started this conversation talking about your 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 dreams. Let's talk about what is your wildest dream in the art space.
Okay. Wildest dream in the art space.
Yeah.
I've lived through many of them. There's some I
That's-
can't give out right now yet because
that's
it's still in the
crazy.
process of execution.
Okay.
By living through many of them, I more meant headlining, curating my own show, the Joburg Theatre, and getting a standing ovation with family and present there and fellow artists as well. That for me is one of my top 5 favorite memories. And
Yo,
that's,
that's crazy.
mostly because of family and stuff and uncles, etc. Would hear you say, I'm going to a show, I'm going to a show. But when you finally tell them, like, yo, Joburg Theatre, compute ticket, my name is there, I'm headlining. You can buy tickets online at a store or whatever, pick and pay, etc. Then they were like, snap. Nephew or cuz is not on this level.
This nigga serious.
And they then began to show up as well, and that then grows, you know what I mean? And I think the respect I get is, of course, something I always appreciate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it's always about honing the craft and sharpening the skill.
Okay.
And the wildest dream was Oscars, Grammys, etc.
Okay.
Because I believe not only am I at that level, I can find another level of mastery in myself that will keep teaching the world.
For
Because
sure.
even those who may not understand me right now need to think of the kids of 2060
Yeah.
who might have the chips to increase intelligence or whatever, where
Yeah.
they got internet in your mind with Neuralink, things already happening right now.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is they're going to ask themselves, without a chip, this is only a human. How can he think with such intricate patterns and create this type of art with so many layers of meaning without any artificial intelligence assisting it?
Yeah.
Natural human artistic art.
Yeah.
And that's the love I have in the mastery, because it's not being decoded just for myself, but for future generations as well.
Yeah.
Well, maybe even pick up other meanings that maybe I didn't even foresee myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, man. You know what? I feel like it's an injustice that I have to do this,
Yeah.
right? But I'm seeing the timekeepers are like, yo, they want to start the Culture Sundays show. So I feel like this needs a part 2.
Yes, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it
Because
does.
I feel like
But the one's definitely been fired.
although it's been layered, right? Like I feel like, we haven't even touched on your academic pursuits, because like normally, this whole podcast is, well, the tangent thus far is focusing on the artist. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I feel like, you're such a profound dude, man, and like I feel like we have to have a conversation, a real one, about
Nah, most definitely.
how the principles of your education, your academic pursuits,
Yes.
also apply in your artistic pursuits.
Oh, definitely,
You,
definitely.
you understand? I feel like
Definitely.
the most important thing maybe that you might have said that highlights that is that you demand excellence from yourself, but not just in one sphere.
Exactly, in all spheres.
You get what I'm saying? And like, firstly, I think a lot of people fear doing more than one thing, let alone being good at doing that one thing that they want to be known at. So I feel like there's another level of this conversation that we must do. But
Definitely.
but we're going to be holding Culture Sundays hostage.
No, it's all right. We definitely will kill a part 2.
Yeah,
Part 1's definitely been lit.
yeah.
And I'm excited for the depth and greatness of more that's going to manifest
But
from this.
but let's end like on a great note, right?
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the challenges that you faced as an artist? And I anticipate that you've definitely overcome them. So how did you overcome them?
Challenges, I guess there's many. One of them is finding your voice, but more than that, the beautiful thing is refining your voice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Where you'll
yeah.
start with maybe a technique and you'll perfect it and craft it that you'll be able to easily give freestyles that maintain structure
Yeah,
in rhyme pattern. And
yeah, yeah,
I sometimes marvel at how my mind does it, but obviously it's just the muscle you cultivate. I think I've done like over 1,000 freestyles. So that 10,000 hour rule,
yeah,
hard practice, anything really.
yeah,
I don't think it's not necessarily 10,000 hours. You can get it down in less than that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I think the key thing is the following. Once you've explored what it is that you want to do, try and look at other masters in that field
yeah,
and figure out where did they excel, what were their mistakes.
yeah,
Avoid their mistakes.
yeah,
This saves you time,
yeah,
which is why the mentor element becomes important in mastery.
yeah,
So you can also be mentored from a distance, peeping game at others that are successful and how they did it.
yeah,
But what I'm trying to say is, in the pursuit of mastery and mastery of yourself,
yeah,
you'll find far greater dimensions to what you think can be the limit to a dream.
for sure.
Hence, I have to dream even bigger now.
Yo,
I have to dream even bigger now.
bro, that is a great note to pause the chat. It's not ending.
Most def.
Yeah,
Pause.
yeah, yeah,
For part
yeah.
two.
I feel like that's. Hey, you stay tuned for episode 2 of Met A Morphosis on Culture Podcast.
Most
You
definitely.
know what I'm saying? I mean, you got it if you enjoyed some of those bars.
Oh no, definitely. This is the culture. We give thanks.
Yeah, thank you, man. We appreciate you. Check you out on part 2.
Most definitely. Shout
sure.
out from Met A Morphosis.
All right.
One.
Thank you, man.